Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to International Racing League. This is IRL F1 tier, Season 7, Round 8 at Britain. I am your commentator, IRL Neano, as Jared Fosbury. My co-commentator is in the lobby. I'm just waiting for him to join the party as soon as he can. But right now, we have 16 drivers today. I think a few may join mid through the race as Brett race ban has gone, so he is allowed to race again in the Red Bull. Unfortunately, he is not here today. Sandra said in the chat, ball incoming. Well, it could happen, you never know. Could see also that from Matthew, from a few other drivers today as well, as right now it is dry weather. As right now, getting all the information up so you can see everything. As Kevin is now joining the body. No drivers going yet, as here is Kevin then. Welcome, Kevin. So Kevin is here then today, guys. 16 drivers, Kevin's dries looks very well. It's dry, nothing like a cloud in sight in theory. So how do you think people are going to do in this qualifying session? And Jamie also taking his seat back in Alfa Romeo.
Well, I mean, it is a bit of a wheel track. I kind of repeat myself every week if it's a bit
Jamie's
of a bit of a wheel, but... Oh.
Jamie is somehow
it is a... Oh yeah, I got to look at his car for a split second, but it went off. But yeah, it is a bit of a wheel track, so that will help the likes of Matthew Older, and I'm not 100% sure who else is. I know Brandon is also on wheel. So yeah, it'll help a few people, a small bit. Although I think it is more or less equal. It's quite close. Although the wheel has a small edge, so I feel like Matthew Older is going to take the pole position. As actually, I see Matty in a slide. Just about catches it, so that was a safe. But yeah, I'd say Matthew Older first. I don't know too much about Matty. He's new, isn't he?
He's a new driver.
Okay.
I'm getting that information up for you right now, as the first driver actually is on an LR is actually Fran, who's on his wheel today. And I think his debut in today's race in the Alfa Romeo. So the Alfa Romeo have got a full team now, I believe. As we'll quickly have a look on the driver lineup then. Loads. So here comes then Fran then around the final corner. Got to get a good exit to have a bit of time gained as Diego has retired, so it's unfortunate for him there, as he's called it there in the pits. Now I think, oh no, he had a quali ban after what he did to Ollie last week in quali in Austria. But right now then we're on board with Fran as he takes turn 1, 2, 3 and 4 nice and tidy into turn 5 now. Down the long straight, got to make your wheel straight as possible. Max on about 200 miles an hour. Quick braking zone. This a nice flowing section part of the track. Through the old little home straight, which is a shame. I wish it was back, to be honest. I prefer the old one. As right now then, here comes Fran now through the fast right-hander. Keeps it just within track limits, and we'll be looking on track limits today, as there's certain corners which you can gain time without getting a warning, as he's going through Maggots and Beckett's right now. He's trying to get the car as quick and nice and tidy through turning in, as he's now going down the hanger straight. Still got a bit of ERS to play with, around about 40%. As there's yellows in sector 3, for some reason my track map is not showing that. Now, well, that's a Toro Rosso there of Eric, possibly. And I believe it's actually Ash who's next up. So here comes Fran then to the line. It's a 127.2. It is Ash who's next. Ash does a 26.3. Almost a whole second quicker than Fran straight away. As a racing point of Lewis Curtis as he comes to the line now into second, a 26.9. As the other Renault takes second actually as well, 26.6 there, Kevin. So very good pace there from both Renault drivers.
Yeah, for this, before everyone sets their time, I'm going to say that Matthew's going to take pole, Ash second, and Jay third. That's what I was going to say earlier before they actually set their times. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna predict anyway.
Right now, Matthew is sitting on the pole position at the moment, as we're going to go on board with the McLaren driver Jack Laverty then coming to the line. He takes pole 26.1. I've got to say, Jack has been managed to put it on pole a few times, like in Bahrain. He qualified pole, beat Matthew, who had a pole qualifying. Jack Laverty has got some pace on him. He could challenge possibly next season in the championship, as it looks like it's just a two-way fight between between Jay and Matthew Order right now. But right now, don't count out Jack maybe for next season. As next up is the other Alf. Oh, the other Alpha's actually disqualified, so it's actually Fran coming into the pits. Was that Sondre on a lap? He's invalidated. So is Matthew Collins. But the Renault driver was Mattis. I can't say his last name, but I'll just call him Matt for short. So we've got another Matt. And he replaced Aaron, since Aaron has vacated his seat there, Kevin. And Ash Best is Ash. Yeah, it's Ash.
Looks like everyone's coming into the pit now. I think the only one who's going back out from the lap right now is either Jay or Bran. That's Brandon going out. So everyone else in the pits and also waiting on a Felix and Negor to.
Yeah, he's coming in. Sorry, Ash isn't Ash. Ash is Richard. Or I'll call him Rich. Or yeah, I'll call him Rich, and that's a good name for him. But there are your two new drivers then, as Richard is a reserve, first reserve at the moment, so if someone does vacate the seat or is unavailable to turn 3 races without warning, he will take that seat. But right now, Brandon, head admin of F1, has had an alright season, hasn't had the best start of course, like his teammates had a great start already fighting for the championship against Matthew Older. But as we said last week, Kevin, with Bran, if he picks up the pace a little bit more, they could. It's like a slim chance, but they could still mathematically challenge for the Williams constructors right now, especially since Cameron's not here today.
Yeah, it's true. It seems Matthew's kind of having to carry Williams a little bit. He hasn't been able to make every race. Two Mercedes obviously has been. I don't think either of them has missed a single race all season, so it helps in their favour. But they're gonna have to put in some really good performances and take wins off Matthew Alder, who seems to be able to get them quite regularly, of course. So yeah, Jay's gonna have to take off wins from Matthew, and Brand's gonna have to put in the top end of the top 10, like keep finishing 5th or higher to really take the fight to Williams, because right now they seem to have quite a gap.
That is true, of course. Brian is on a lap right now, Ken, if you want to go over on board on his lap. As he's about
out of what is turn 5, I think, there, the little kink. So coming down the straight into this left-hander of turn 6, I think it is. Oh, and he's invalidated already, and he also had a purple first sector as well.
Yeah, I did catch that. Fortunately for him, he will be disappointed with that. Anybody else on a lap or close to setting up? I think Matthew Collins maybe on a lap. Getting ready. I know
Jay is very close to. He's coming around the final chicane.
Well, Matthew's actually just crossed the line. So Matthew's actually now into turn 1 then. If you want to go on board with him, Kevin.
Yeah, so through to turn 3, a little bit hesitant on the steering input there. So that may have lost some small bit of time. Now through to the straight, flat out down to this corner. This corner is very tricky because you want to be able to get as tight of a line as possible without cutting. And he does that quite well through his long right-hander on to the old start-finish straight, as he said earlier, on to this very flat out and very easy to invalidate right-hander. He does go down to 7th. Not everyone does that. Obviously he has on this occasion. As through Maggots and Beckett's, can carry a lot of speed out of here. Seems like he has done that quite well. Obviously he hasn't started the time yet, so we'll see where this puts him provisionally for now. 8 minutes left in quali as well. Goes through the final few turns. Gets as much of the track as he can without going wide. Through the final chicane, and he's done pretty much everything that he's had to do. Where is this going to put him? It's going to put him 5th with a 26.7. Quite a bit off the top guys, although always room for improvement.
Yeah, you are right there. There is a lot of improvement there he could do there. Again, if a couple more attempts, he did say he was a bit hesitant there to turn 1, 2 and 3 with the power, so it could have cost him possibly a 10th. And could possibly challenge Ollie and Matt in today's race. Ollie is currently in 4th right now. And I've got to say, Ollie has picked up the pace recently. Got a podium in France. Could have had a possible podium if he didn't have a 5-grid place penalty in Austria. But unfortunately it didn't go to his way. But do you think Ollie, near the end of the season, could get a win at one point if Matthew and Jay have some issues there, Kevin?
He's put himself in positions to potentially grab it. So I think it's definitely possible if the top guys have a few problems, because he's not quite there, but he's almost there. And if he can just not run into any problems, then I think he can put himself in a potential winning position. But I'm on board now with Jay, and it's very wide now. He's actually
invalidated. Yeah, he was lucky there because you have to be careful through those kind of corners that you don't invalidate, and he won't be happy with that. Especially he's currently 12th right now. Matthew is actually about to finish a lap right now. Let's see how he takes the final couple of corners. Hits the bump on that both chicanes there. Avoids the next curve. You've got to be careful on that right curve as well. The right little bump. It can send you spinning. And it was a little bit of improvement there by a 10th, but it still didn't improve his position, so he's only gained a little bit of time on Jack right now. So Matthew won't be too disappointed right now because his championship rival is in 12th place.
Yeah, but I'm sure if Jay was able to finish that lap, he would have been able to put himself up there. Obviously, Jay not in a great position because his initial lap, obviously, you can see it's nowhere near his true pace, and really it's going to be a kind of one-shot quali at the end for him. So he's not in the best position. Matthew's obviously sitting on a pretty good lap for now. I mean, if he finished the quali session with that, he wouldn't be too bad of a position. So Jay's gonna have to put in a really good lap under the added pressure of not having one already.
That's true, of course. Now here comes Casper into the line. What time will he set? Goes P8 for the 26.8 there. So he won't be too disappointed with that, as it looks like Fran is coming into the pits then. And I believe Matthews finished on those softs. Yeah, I think he's actually out of fuel, to be honest. Yeah, he's out of fuel. With 5 minutes left to play, I don't think there is enough time for 2 runs, so people may go out for their final runs now, possibly near the end, as it is a very slow pit lane. And for me, it's going to be an advantage for me tomorrow, especially if I'm needed for F2, as I'll be on my wheel. But I've got to say, the guys who have the advantage today, is very hard on the pad OP traction in certain corners, like turn 4 and the final corner, actually, to put that as well. As we can hear another car coming out of the garage, and I think that's a Ferrari. It is a Ferrari.
I think it's Fran. Yeah, I think it's. Oh no, it
It's
is.
Matthew. Yeah,
That
it's
is
Matthew.
Matthew Collins. Yeah.
And then there's a Lewis Curtis behind. And actually, Jay's actually already out on a lap. I didn't even notice this. Jay's already out on a lap. Oh, on a out lap, sorry. So Jay did gain a few points on him, as he will be happy with that, as he took the win yesterday. Matthew made a little mistake, which he usually doesn't make mistakes, and it was quite surprising to see, to be honest. And the championship standings are like this right now then, with Matthew Order in the lead with 127 points, and Jay in second with 85. So Jay is still there, within a shout. Williams with 175 points to their team name, and Mercedes 138. So it's just a two-horse race between Jay and Matthew, and Williams and Mercedes. Oh, there's a nice interesting battle for third with Renault and McLaren, as Jay's about to start his lap there, Kevin, if you want to go on board.
I am on board with him now, so through the final corner he gets a pretty good launch off the final corner. To start his lap he gets very, very close to the track limits, just doesn't invalidate. Through turns 3 and 4 now, quite a flowing section here, down to first for a bit extra turning.
He's invalidated.
Oh?
No, he's backed off. He's backed off. He started moving the engine up. He's backed off. He's probably not happy with that. But he's gonna. Oh, that's Fran. Fran's actually an out lap, so you don't have to worry about getting in his way. But I think Ollie. Is that Ollie on a lap? No, he's on an out lap. Matthew Collins, he is on a lap, so we'll go on board with Matthew Collins right now, as he took it still a bit cautious there, Kevin, in turn 3. He's not going. He's only going half like power really on the throttle. He could go 3/4 and just get better at short shifting, I'm guessing, unless he's really not keen with the setup, with the no traction area really, where if you use no traction it's quite easy to spin in that section.
That is quite true, as I'm just keeping an eye on Jay, so you can keep on board with him.
Yep, we'll keep an eye on them, as Matthew Collins then is coming through Maggots and Beckett's, the only one who's on a valid lap time right now. Through Maggots and Beckett's he goes, really fighting that car into those corners. Avoids the curb there. It's a bit of the grass. It's going to cost him a couple of hundreds possibly, but he's purple in sector 2. Currently almost 1.5 tenths up on his lap. It's not going to be pole position at the moment unless he finds a lot of time. Around about 7 or 8 tenths. Oh, and he runs extremely wide there through that corner, and he has to be careful through there in the race, because if he gets caught doing that in the race too many times, he will get a penalty. And right now, here comes Matthew Collins then to the line. It's a 126.6. 1.5 tenths improvement. Takes P5. As you said,
I'm on
Jay
board
was
with
on
Jay. He's just at a purple first sector.
Wow.
Brandon right behind him. He could have given his teammate slipstream if he came out just a little earlier, but he didn't, so that wasn't possible. Yeah, through the old pit straight into the old turn 1, he's going to have to be very careful with track limits, as he actually invalidated on his last run.
He's invalidated again.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Notice.
He may have just enough fuel to do one more run, but he might actually be... Nope, he's not actually going to help his teammate, to be honest. Because Brian is on an outlap. But, I love it how it says Fran's on an outlap, but he's actually not. As here comes Fran then, in the Alfa Romeo. His teammate's currently in 16th. Fran's currently in 11th. Let's see what he can do in the new Alfa Romeo for him today. Comes around the final corner. What time will it be? The 126.6, 6 tenths improvement. There goes 7th, as Jay has called it a day then, and he will be lining up 12th on the grid unless Sondre and Bran can improve both on their lap times. As a McLaren of Ollie Flavel, I believe that is. It is. Ollie goes P5, beats Matthew Collins then. Currently provisional P5 right now. As Matthew Collins is actually not on a lap, so that is confirmed. Matthew Collins can't beat Ollie today, so Ollie is safe for now in 5th. The next driver to cross the line is Casper. Is Matthew Order on a lap there, Kevin?
He is right now. He's finishing it.
Alright, then here comes Casper to the line. What time will it be? It's 2 tenths of improvement, but no position gained, only 17 thousandths down. Jack Laverty doesn't improve, a tenth down on his time. That's going to be crucial because Matthew Alder is apparently 2.5 tenths up on his lap right now. And it looks like Matthew Alder is going to set a 125, a high 25. First one to possibly break into 25s, and he does, a 125.9, and takes provisional pole. As here comes Felix Negua. He finishes the lap there. Sondre goes P5 there. Wasn't expecting that, as both Renaults now have Ash. What about Ash? What will he do? Currently a few hundreds down. A couple hundreds improvement. Stays in third place as Fran isn't on a lap, and he will be calling it a day unless Bran is going to upset Matthew Alder's day. No, Bran will get his 11th. 26.7 there. Wow, a very close grid from the first to 11th and 12th really. Not even 13th with only Jay doing a 135.8. Unfortunately didn't get a good lap time set, and Diego had a quality ban, and Jamie got disqualified for losing control of the car in the pit lane.
Did a Grosjean then?
Yeah. Well then, we will go down the 16 car lineup. Matthew Alder then takes pole position with a 25.979, one and a bit tenths ahead of Jack Laverty. Unfortunately, Jack Laverty couldn't get pole this time. Ash in third, Matt in third, or was actually Richard in third, Matt fourth, Sondre in fifth, Eric is in sixth, Ollie Flavel in seventh, Matthew Collins in eighth, Casper in ninth, Fran takes 10th on his debut race day, I believe it is, only 7/10 down off the leader. Brandon Glover in 11th, Felix Negro 12th, Lewis Curtis 13th. Jay unfortunately didn't get a good lap time in 14th. It's going to cost him a lot in the championship if a bad result happens, with Diego in 15th for the quality ban, and Jamie disqualified for pit stop error. And it's classic British weather. Rain. Wow, maybe this is why Jay didn't want to be near the front today. Could be a possibility, as it's inter conditions now. I believe it rained last week. Yeah, it did.
It rained for a bit, but they weren't intermediate conditions.
No, but these are intermediate conditions, and it looks like the rain is possibly going to stay for a little bit, possibly 15 laps, because you can see a bit of blue sky. But then, Kevin, what is going to be your race prediction when we do see the rest of the grid, as with everybody to get their setups and everything?
I would expect a safety car. I would also, I wouldn't take Jay as someone to get involved in stuff either. So I feel like Jay could put him in himself in a good position early on. Matthew, I don't think he'll be fazed by the rain at all. So I feel like he'll be leading the charge.
Matthew really trying to get
slippery out there.
Yeah, it's not like Matthew would lose the rear end.
But yeah, I would say that Jay will be able to come through the field. I would say that he'll be able to challenge Matthew, but I'm not sure if he'd beat him. I think Matthew's going to take the win. Jay second, and Jack Leverty third.
Well, I've got to give credit to Jay. He's really improved all season round, and you know, he could have been a championship contender last season, but unfortunately bad luck. A little bit of bad luck's happened, but he has been there with Matthew, challenging him a lot better than the last rival against Matthew was Louis. And Jay's been a lot, I'd say a bit stronger, not making that many mistakes, to be honest. As Lucas has to stay within 10 cars length, or he will get a penalty. He is now. But these conditions do look treacherous right now. Could possibly, if the weather does stay for a bit longer, could possibly lead to wet tyres. And it will definitely possibly be a two-stop strategy in today's race for the Inters. Unless somehow people manage to make Inters last 20 laps. They have been done before, to last 20 laps, but I think it'd be around about 10 to 12 laps each time there's a Renault off track there. And I believe that is Matt there. No, it's not, it's Richard. Richard's gone off. And he's now overtaking the rest of the field just to get back in his grid slot. He will be lining up in third today. And I'm very surprised to see the Bottle Hog himself in P5 there, Kevin.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that. the two Toro Rossos as a team as well, 5th and 6th. So they're actually looking quite good for this race.
Well, he won the Constructors with Matthew last season. Matthew is looking to aim for the Constructors yet again. But right now, it looks like the Toro Rosso team will be fighting in the standings against Ferrari and Haas, mainly possibly McLaren later in the future if they get some good performances. But we're about to start the sequence of the lights to begin at the 26 laps around Britain. There's now 1, 2 lights, now 3 lights, 4 lights, now 5 red lights, and they've gone out in the Silverstone Grand Prix at round 8, and it looks like Jack Levity hasn't had a great start. Ray already spinning those rear tyres, almost kicked him out straight away. And let's see how the field reacts in these conditions. As we'll go further down, as I say, he's completely off the track there, already out of turn 1. As right now, it looks like there's a move between the Toro Rossos. Is that Sondre? It is Sondre. Sondre's already making a few errors, and Matthew Collins is getting feisty, lunging his way through the field, and possibly going to try an ollie. And there's a racing point round, and there's a Red Bull of Felix Negwa. Felix and Lewis Curtis. Lewis lost control of the rear and just hit Felix's front wing. And these two are going to have to come back to the pits for some repairs.
Yeah, I didn't see that properly, but in turn 2, I know that Felix did get a little bit of damage from a small correction. Yeah, he went into someone's side pod and got a small bit of damage, so that might have helped with him losing the rear there in, what was turn 4. So, not sure if anyone's particularly to blame. I didn't see it properly. I'm not sure if you got a better angle. Brandon Glover actually gets quite a nice save. I just caught that. He loses his position to his teammate. On the exit, he almost lost, just kept it on the road.
As right now, though, Matthew Collins is looking tasty on Ollie. Ollie's defending on the inside. There's an Alfa Romeo off the track there. And there's almost big contact there between Ollie and Matthew Collins. And Matthew Collins has to be careful, has to give him space, of course. Same with Ollie. These two have been at war a few times. Right now, Ollie's in the lead. Oh, and they almost do with Vettel and Verstappen in the chicane. Matthew Collins has been a bit too aggressive, in my opinion. As now Fran sees an opportunistic move on both drivers. Ollie gets shoved off wide. Ollie didn't see the Alfa Romeo there. The Alfa was in the blind spot. And look at this. Now Jay is getting very aggressive on Ollie Flavel and takes a spot as well. And now possibly on Casper is his next victim.
Yeah, it seemed like Ollie just got a bit out of order and had to go wide a bit to make sure he didn't hit anyone, and now he's lost another position there to Brandon Glover, so he's just falling down the grid ever since the end of that last lap. But he's trying to go back down the inside of Brandon there. He's had a look. They are side by side now. Is he going to be able to make it as he slides around the corner? Brandon has to go a bit off a little bit. And Brown's going to have the inside line for turn 2, or the next corner at least. Side by side on the exit. There's a little bit of wheel banging there, I think. They're still side by side all the way down towards the old turn 1, and it looks like Ollie is going to get the move. It was a great battle between those two.
It was a good battle, of course, but right now we're going on Jay through Max Beckett. It's almost side by side through Max Beckett between the Ferrari and the Mercedes of Jay and Matthew Collins. Brandon gets a 3-second time penalty, but this is coming into an intense race. Now Fran is in jeopardy from Casper and possibly Ollie, if Ollie can get a bit back to grips with his car. But Ollie's been really just destroyed after I can't speak. Matthew Collins making that move, and it just unsettled his car through the final corner and just let a lot of cars through. And Jay is being very smart and sensible getting through the field right now, and Jay is really looking to get Matthew Collins, as Matthew sets a provisional fastest start 140.9. Will Jay have anything to answer that to that? Unfortunately at the moment, no, he's 42.3, but he's not that far off, and he is behind a car right now. As it looks like
right now,
Eric's in fourth. Oh, Matt's gone off.
Did Eric or Matt? Yeah,
Matt looks like he went off.
He's also lost the position to Matthew Collins there.
Oh, it's Matt now versus Matthew Collins.
I'm not sure why, and Jay is also trying to go around the outside of him as well. This is for P6. Jay started, remember, down in 12th to 13th, I'm pretty sure. So he's really making up these positions, and he's in the slipstream of Matthew Collins as well. Will he maybe look for it into the next part of the section? No, he won't. But he is closing. He seems to have a lot of pace in the intermediate conditions here. Goes a little bit out of order on the exit there. Is that Brandon? Oh, and Brandon and Ollie are fighting again.
They go side by side, and this time Brand gets the advantage. Ollie doesn't get the... Oh, actually, Ollie gets an alright exit. Possibly may challenge him through Mackett and Beckett. It's going to be very dangerous if he tries that, but you can just see this big long train from Matthew Collins all the way to Jamie Morris and possibly Sondra Sohag in 14th.
Yeah, it seems like there is quite a train, and then Eric has been... He's not gaining on the top three, who's really pulled away, but he's made himself a little bit of a gap to Matthew Collins. He's under pressure from Jay Jarberg right now, so he looks in a pretty comfortable position where he can just kind of do his own thing and let everyone else fight, which is quite a nice position for him as well, being P4. I mean, he might be able to get a surprise podium today.
Yeah, that is true, of course. And right now, Jack Loughty is basically copying everything Matthew does with the ERS saving. They're both equivalent to 100%, and they're not really pushing, and they're still pulling away from the field. So Jack Loughty could possibly even challenge for the win today, which would be very surprising, as there's miles big battles behind. There's unfortunately all missing.
I thought someone spun there.
Casper and Fran going side by side.
Battles going at once.
Bran and Ollie, Casper and Fran. As here comes Diego now coming into the frame as well, as Ollie Flavel is on the inside, but now Bran is there as well. He has to give him a little bit of space, and that's possibly opened the door for Diego, and these two have no love lost from each other, as they both were involved in the incident in turn 1 and in qualifying last week, as there's another side-by-side action now with JME and Diego this time. They're going side by side through the fast right hand. Oh, and there's been a contact there between JME and Diego, and luckily no damage at all there, and that was very lucky that none of them went spinning in that fast right-hander.
Yeah, it seems that the top two right now, Matthew and Jack, is that Matty?
Yeah, Matty and Fran, that's what I was going to say. Matt and Fran looked like had a bit of contact, unsettled the car. And look at Brand. Brand's being very optimistic, going on the inside of Casper this time. The gap's still open, but Casper squeezed him a little bit, so it unsettles Brand. Is Brand going to go for a lunge into the chicane? No, he doesn't. He thought about it, but stays behind. Oh, and there's a bit more contact between Casper and Fran.
In all of that, Jay also got past Matthew Collins. I'm not sure if you caught that. I didn't.
No, I didn't. I'm saying on this massive battle for P6 right now.
Jay's really on a charge. He's now closed up to almost the back of Eric. He's within 2 seconds now. He's really chasing down Matthew Waller, and looks like a man on a mission. Like, he could go on to win this race potentially with his pace. I mean, he's got past the whole grid, and now he's a bit of clean air to really try and push.
Yeah, I've got to give it him. Jay is really flying. Matthew, your win may be in jeopardy yet again, and it could be a nice intense battle between Matthew and Jay. As the weather looks like it's calmed down a little bit, but it's still intermediate conditions. The rain has slowed down, as Ollie's under threat by Matt this time for P10. As his yellow is further behind, that's a racing point off in the gravel, and that is Lewis Curtis. I think he is going to call it a day today. I don't know what has happened to him. However, we're on board with Casper now, who's possibly going to challenge Fran down the long hanger straight to Mackers currently right now. But this train is getting bigger and bigger every time and getting a lot closer as well. And now Felix isn't that far off, only 2.9 seconds, even with wind damage there, Kevin.
Yeah, I just got a very nice shot of the whole train. Is this an Alfa Romeo? Is that Jamie Morris? He had a look on a move on Matt, but he couldn't make it work, although he's got a better exit now as well. Could he go down the inside? No. He's gonna stick behind. It's just, like, the train's so close, like anyone could make a move on anyone at any point right now.
Brand made a move on Casper, and now Casper's under threat by Ollie.
Everyone's just looking for a move everywhere right now, trying to get out of this train.
Casper gets a bad exit, but Ollie has got a low fuel light symbol, so Ollie is burning that much fuel. Maybe he's going to have to save fuel near the end of this race, and maybe he's trying to get a lighter car to get faster than everybody else right now. just almost touching rear wing of that Haas there, Ollie is.
Jay's caught up to the back of Eric now, and he's going to be inevitably making the move. He's got a better exit off slipstream as well. He's all the IRL in the world.
As Lewis Curtis has called it a day then, as now Ollie and... Whoa, Casper lost a big chunk of his wing there. Ollie gave him no room and just squeezed him off into the wall. And that was a Schumacher Rubens Barrichello move all over again in Hungary. And Casper will be furious with that. And Jay, as you did say, is closed up on Eric. Let's see what he can do down the hanger straight. Max speed, max ERS, max fuel, and already gets the job done before the corner. And Jay is now into 4th place.
Yeah, and he's 3.5 seconds off Ash right now, and you can see him just up the road, and I'm sure he'll be hungry to grab that podium, because I mean, if you look at it, 7 laps ago he was down in 13th.
Yep.
6 laps ago rather, and now he's challenging for a podium. So he's really made the moves where it's counted.
Yep, that is true, of course, and he's doing 40.6s at the moment, and I believe Matthew Order set a fast start with a 140.3, so Jay's only losing around about 3/10 off Matthew, but he was behind traffic. Now Matthew isn't behind traffic, using all the ERS he can, so Jay seems a lot quicker in the interconditions. As you said, he already pulled a gap already of 1.1 seconds to Eric already, who's actually under threat by Matthew Collins, as there's battles all over the track, and that train which we had earlier there, Kevin, has now started to stretch a little bit into 2 separate battles.
Yeah, that is right. Brandon seems to be that is Brandon, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Brandon seems to be... Oh no, it's not it. I was looking at the wrong part of the track. Well, I was going to say that Brandon was going to get away from the train, but I was looking at Jay on the map, so...
well...
Yeah.
Right now, though, Matthew Collins is looking feisty on Eric this time. Round the outside, makes the move already, so Eric may be just letting these guys through and possibly trying to save the intermediate tyres to possibly a crossover point, because right now, it may still look really cloudy at the moment, but the rain has started to die down a little bit there, Kane. As Wang sets a new fast lap, 40.1.
Yeah, these guys should be pitting around lap 13 and 14. Might see some people going for an undercut, but I mean, as you said, if this rain clears up and if these guys know about it, then they might be looking to stretch the since. And also with the way the weather forecast is, you can never truly predict where the crossover point is going to be, so you might see some people stretching the tires and other people opting for fresh to try and make up the time.
That is true, of course, and right now we'll jump on board with Bran, who's not that far Fran, but he's actually not that far from Ollie, possibly making an overtake with slipstream. As right now then, Matthew and Jack Laverty are in their own little world. Rich is in 3rd right now as a reserve, and Jay is in 4th. Jay has already built a gap of 1.6 seconds now to Matthew Collins. No, 1.5. As here, can you keep an eye on Matthew Collins when he goes through the fast right and the store corner as well? Might keep an eye on the battle. Yeah, I just have a weird feeling because he did cut it a little bit in quali. It's just in case. I don't want him to gain time on people because he just gained a 10th of Jay. But right now, we're on board with Bran. And Ollie is actually backed off there, but I tell you somebody who hasn't backed off is Diego. He's managed this new fastest lap now in the 39s, 139.9. So the track is getting quicker and the conditions are starting to improve very slowly. So possibly in 10 to 15 laps, we could see full dry tyres. I don't think it's dries yet, possibly dries and stops raining around about 8.
Yeah, I just saw Francis as well there, went 2 tenths quicker, so it's definitely getting a small bit quicker. Lap 9 out of 26 will clear up, though, is the question.
It is, and Bran's struggling for grip, it looks like, as all he just was 5 tenths and then instantly 2 tenths. He's literally on the gearbox of Bran right now. Ollie is starting to get quicker in these conditions at the moment, and Bran is under threat. Mercedes and McLaren used to be under Mercedes engine, will be again in 2021, or now 2022 with COVID-19, but right now the McLaren of Ollie Flavel is showing that he's got the pace to challenge Bran and possibly Fran, who's currently in 7th right now. God, this battle's all over.
He seems to be picking up the pace a bit, and if they go side by side, Fran might be able to use this as an opportunity to make a little bit of a gap between himself and well, actually not even train behind him anymore. It's not really a train. It has really cut up into small groups now, so it's more of a separate battles than a train. But yeah, you can see that Ollie seems a little bit quicker, although Bran has actually got it back in the last few corners, so maybe it's just depends on the sector.
Yeah, it's true, of course, and Diego does improve his position and goes into 11th now, passes Matt. Matt, with that mistake he had in Chapel, he's already struggling on grip. But I noticed on Ollie, he was 4.5 tenths up and he wasn't really pushing, but now he's under threat by JME. What is going on? Sandra gets a 3-second time penalty, and he says he's going to bottle today, but I don't think he is. He's in 13th.
Jamie getting very close to the back of Ollie Flavel there. He may be able to make a move. He's right up the back of him. He'll be able to have slipstream. He has pretty much a full battery, so he'll be able. And also, Ollie has a little bit of a correction. Can he maybe go down the inside? He has a look, and he's going to stick behind for now, but he's right up the gearbox. Can he maybe go for an opportunistic move? No, he is going to have to stick behind for now, but he's so close to the back of Ollie. And now on the exit, he is going to be able to get side by side. He gets squeezed on the right. They're going to be side by side into the old turn 1. Who is going to be able to come out on top? It's going to be Jamie Morris. Nice move. Up into 9th.
Well, he's possibly thinking through Magnus and Beckett's right now. Well, he has to back off a little bit. Possibly get a good run out of Chapel. He has to get a good run if he wants to try and get that position back, or it's game over for him and he will be staying in 10th for a bit. And Jamie will now start to try and close on Brandon all over. Right now though, Jay has gained so much time on Richard right now, 1.2 seconds, as it's actually stopped raining quicker than I thought it would be. But the spray is still an issue on the track right now there, Kevin.
Yeah, I just saw Jay's correcting his score a little bit, so it does seem that it's maybe actually quite close to dry. He's looking at how the sky is now, the track is.
Ooh, Jamie was extremely off there.
I think we're not too many laps away from it being back to dry. Obviously no one's pit yet. I don't think anyone will be pitting unless it's for the dry tyre.
Yeah, I don't think it is dry yet, especially with the spray. But there is a dry line form, and Frank gets a 3-second time penalty, but Ash is really getting caught by Jay now. Jay is starting to pick up the pace yet again. This guy is on a mission right now. Instead of Mercedes saying hammer time, they're basically saying, Jay, it's time to pick up the pace and get another gear on there, 9th gear, and just fly that car to its limits and try and catch up to Matthew Order, who's currently in the lead of this race.
Yeah, he's really close. You can just see through Magnus and Beckett just how much more grip and how much more confident he is. He'll be able to get a bit of slipstream, maybe going for a move into turn 1 here, Jared.
Could possibly do that. We'll keep an eye on that fight as well. There's another battle further behind who's about to come out of Chapel as well with Ollie and JME. Just keep an eye, see if he gets close enough this time. It's the 3 wide fight now. Diego's possibly trying to challenge JME, and he is. Diego's going on the inside. Oh, I thought about it, but I had to back off there. As now we will go on board with Jay Drawbridge as it went to Matthew Collins. But Jay, who's now challenging Rich. Gaps around about 4 tenths, only a few seconds as Diego and Jamie are still fighting further behind. Going through the final corner right now.
Oh, and he gets really close. Jay almost hit Ash there.
Unfortunately, I don't get the best camera angle there.
Here he comes. Ash is gonna pull to the left. Looks like he's trying to get a bit more water on his tires, which is fair enough. It is drying. It also gets rid of Jay's slipstream. He didn't actually move over to grab a slipstream from Ash, so that'll help.
Oh, there's yellows.
But this is yellow flags. Is that for
Is that
Jamie Morris? It is, and he's off in sector 1. And actually, was that Felix that hit him there? I think.
No, that was Sondre. Sondre's hit him.
No wing damage.
No wing damage then, but I saw him slow down.
Felix has a wing damage, so are you sure it wasn't Felix?
No, Felix got wing damage from the start. He hasn't pitted yet. As Adam tunes into the chat and says, Sondre hasn't crashed yet. Well, that's a nice thing to say. He's currently in 13th. He just did crash, apparently. So, have a look. Jay is closing up as it's still in the conditions, but it's not raining. And now, possibly another couple of laps' time, with the weather as it is right now, we could possibly see dries in 6 laps' time then, or 5 laps. Because I don't think it's going to dry up quickly enough as Jack Laverty gets a 3-second time penalty. And that has possibly blown the game plan out the window. He now needs to hope that Matthew Older gets a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, and Matthew's not really one to get pens, so it's going to be quite hopeful.
The thing is, I have to say, when do you think, I say 6 or a couple of laps, when do you think it's going to get rid of the spray from the intermediates and instantly go dries on this track?
I'd say it's probably going to be in the next few laps. I'd say probably lap 16 or 17 is going to be pretty much there, I'd say. Although I could be wrong, it doesn't look like it's... Oh, and Ash has made a mistake. Jay is going to be right up the back of him. Would he go for a move? He may just go for it. He sticks behind for now. Although Ash just go a little bit wide, he's going to be going around the outside and not the inside for the next corner. No. Once again, he has to stick behind, but he's so close to Ash right now. And he is going to get a better exit. He is going to have slipstream this time. I think he is close enough to maybe go down the inside. Ash defends to the inside. He's going to go around the outside now. And he switches back to the inside, actually, does Jay. And was that a bit of wing damage I saw?
No wing damage from what I saw there. Oh, and there was going to be wing damage! Oh. They've done a Verstappen and Vettel! Ash just misjudged the braking point. Ash goes flying. Matthew Collins is being very cheeky and getting past both of them. Did Jay get damaged? Was the conditions instantly started soaking up a little bit more than the Inters could cope with?
Yeah, definitely has damage now. He may not have had it when I said it, but he definitely has it now that I have.
Oh, Ash won't be happy. Ash will be furious. That's cost him a possible podium position. But look, Jay yet again struggling in the braking zone, and it looks like he can't manage the tyres at the moment in these conditions. They were working early, and he almost spins it there. And right now, Eric is possibly looking for a P5, possibly a P4 position at the moment, and he's looking very confident right now.
Yeah, it looks like Jay just... I mean, it's... was it that Ash broke too early, or was it that Jay broke too late? I mean, I was on board with Jay, and I feel like he might have been braking a bit late. I mean, I've seen quite a few close calls with Jay braking a bit too late before, so I think it might have been just Jay's own fault, unless you have other information.
Well, I didn't get the best camera view, but it could be that. I don't know if the guy uses ABS, but right there, it just looked like he lost complete grip in the brakes and the tyres just fell and he just couldn't stop in time. Unfortunate. He had a bit of contact there with Ash, and Ash won't be happy with it, but he has to understand the conditions can be treacherous and sometimes the brakes may just not work at all and you're just going to get hit. He did try to avoid last minute because he wasn't actually expecting to hit Ash, but unfortunately there was still contact with the air as he exceeds track limits, but that's because of the wing damage and he will be pitting. And hopefully he doesn't get a speeding penalty. No, he doesn't, so he's the first man to pit. Now, I wonder what tyres he's going to go on, because that'll be an interesting call.
Tyres, yeah.
Because it's nowhere near dries, but it's nowhere near it's going to rain again. It could be dry tyres, but it looks like he's going on a new set of Inter tyres. And it is a new set of Inter, so does he know that there's rain, a bit more rain coming later in this race?
He might do. I mean, the drivers might know something we don't. Although, oh, and actually, Jamie's gone on to a set of softs,
And he's
so
trying to
we
test
can
them
see
out.
that. Yeah, I mean, from the one corner I've watched him, yeah, they're clearly not the tire.
Yeah, especially when there's still
Nowhere near.
spray coming off the slick tyres. And he's lucky that he hasn't lost it, so hopefully he doesn't lose it through the fast right-hander. And he has to look how much power he has to drop down. It goes to 5th gear. You can, usually in slicks, you can take that 7th gear flat. And it's definitely not slick tyres yet. And he's just going to have to bite these conditions right now, as he's really struggling through Mackett's and Beckett's. As right now we have a battle for P8 right now, Diego and Ollie, only a couple of tenths off these. But it looks right now though, Kevin, that Matthew's victory is basically confirmed.
Yeah, you could say that. Although I said that Jay didn't have wing damage, and then 2 seconds later he got wing damage.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, he looks pretty comfortable right now, and also he's set the fastest lap of the race. So, yeah, 4.5 second gap, more or less. So, yeah, he looks very comfortable. He looks in control of this race. If you take out Jack, he's pretty much no competition either, and even then, his only competition has a penalty. So, I think he can kind of just cruise to the end unless there's a safety car.
That is true, of course. As Matthew Order, as we call him, an alien. But it just amazes us how much pace he can get, especially when he went no assists with wheel as well, as last year he was on pad. So, to be honest, he's done a very good job to transition over to wheel with no assists. And he's just proven for him how easy it is, but for other people it is a bit hard, more work. And he's currently now leading by 4.4 seconds. Will be a bit more with Jack Slavity's penalty when it gets added up, because I know Matthew hasn't got any penalties. As Diego and Ollie's fight, his gap is still stabilising the same, as actually Sondre and Felix got the exact same gap as well just then as Diego and Ollie. Sondre will be a bit disappointed being in 12th. Honestly,
No, I
it
actually
is
thought
dry.
that, thought there was an overtake there for a second, but it's just Jamie being lapped.
Oh, so it's definitely
So
soft tyres,
obviously
yeah.
not a great day for him today.
There's no way you can take... Oh, that's Jamie's AI. Or Jamie getting out of the way. But the tyres can't go to the end. These inters, can they?
I wouldn't say so.
I know wets possibly
Although,
can.
I mean, if it doesn't,
Got
it doesn't get any drier. It doesn't look to be really drying. I mean, I said around lap 16, 17 it would be time for dries, but I mean, there's just as much spray as there was a few laps ago. So I don't know. We could finish under intermediate conditions. Although actually saying that now, it has cleared up a little bit more.
As he's retired, Jamie has called it a day then in the pits. So it wasn't soft tyres. He paid off a gamble foul for today as he's coming back to the team, and he will be a bit disappointed with that in 15th. And that is DNF. Didn't get the quality he wanted as he got disqualified. As Jay now sets a new fast start, 39.1, so he wants to steal it off Matthew, who's also done a 39. I think he did 39.9, so Jay's a lot quicker on those tyres. But you said lap 16 possibly dries, but the spray's still there surprisingly, so it could lead up to lap 20 maximum, I think, till we see a set of dry
maybe.
tyres.
I mean, if it doesn't end up being dry tires, then Jay's race isn't completely ruined. So, I mean, it could be good for the likes of him if it does stay in these conditions. He'll be hoping it does, of course. But it is drying, but at the same time, the laps are running out.
That is true, of course. These guys still need to make a pit stop, possibly, if those inters can't go to the end, if the rain is going to go to the end, of course. But I don't think it is. As we'll go on board with Sondre Sohaug, the Mr. Bottlehaug league owner, is currently on Felix Negro.
Yeah, that's Fran in.
Oh, Fran's in then. So Fran's made a pit stop. If you can keep an eye on what tyres he goes on then, as I keep an eye on this battle. 4P11. As Jay's now starting to catch up with this battle as well. So tyres does go on then for Fran. Will he go intermediates? Now, if he goes intermediates, that means they're going to the end. But if he goes dries, the rain is.
Yeah, that's intermediate
go.
tyres.
Looks like the weather's going to stay as it is then. I don't think it is going to dry out, and for once, it's not raining and the track isn't drying out.
I think. I don't think that it's not going to dry up. I think it's going to dry up. I think it's just that the intermediate tyres are just taking so long that you just have to pit anyway. They just can't be taken anymore.
Jay's actually looking for.
I feel like some people are going to be making an extra pit stop if you do go onto inches, but I feel like it's just.
Here comes Jay.
There is a.
Sorry to cut you off there. Jay made a million outside Sandra, as you were saying, Kevin.
Yeah, I think there is a certain point where the inches just won't go any longer, and I think this is around that point. So I think people will be pitting for an extra set of inches, and then maybe dries right at the end if it's necessary. But yeah, the laps are running out, as I said.
It's true, of course. There's another fight further down with Diego and Ollie, as we'll jump on board with that now. But Jay's got a lot of pace on those tyres. As the fresh, what's the gap to the leader from him? It's around about 55, it's roughly a minute. So he needs to gain a lot more time, possibly 20 seconds in a couple of laps. I don't think that's going to be possible, especially with that front wing damage he had to take.
No, I've just seen actually Francis on this fresh inches flew by Sondre. The exit speed compared to Sondre was just crazy. So yeah, it looks like people are pitting. It's obviously not getting any drier, or not dry enough, and it looks like people are going to have to pit. People are pitting now.
Matt comes in. He's going on intermediates as well. Renault do a slick pit stop, and he's out. And he will be currently in 13th, possibly 14th if Casper jumps him. As we'll go on board with Diego now, still trying to get past Ollie. But will Ollie manage to hold for another 7 laps? 7 to 8 laps, if that's right. Will he be able to hold that after, or will these Inters complete 4th? I've seen Inters in Austria do 20 laps.
In goes Jack Levity there.
Oh, so
from P2, he will probably come out behind Eric, I'd say. Just in front of Bran, but I could be wrong. Looking at his gap, it was quite big. This is the undercut that he's going for on Matthew as well.
Well, yeah, definitely could be an undercut strategy, and that might then have to schedule the Williams pit team to come into the pits. But right now, Matthew has just led all the way through this race, and Diego is still not close enough to Ollie, as Jack does go on another set of inters, so it isn't the conditions as these lot are going to come out. Ollie just behind Jack there, as Jack does get ahead, and that's good news for Jack as he needs to be ahead of these two. And right now he needs to pick up the pace, and the gap between Jay and Diego is 17.9 seconds, and Jay is closing very quickly.
Yeah, and actually looking at it, I mean, he's going to get a massive undercut because Matthew's going to have to hold out on a 19 lap old inters, and obviously Jack's going to be able to have a lap where he's really going to gain time. And you can see as well Brandon just in front of him, he's just like, I mean, he's run away from his teammate who came just in front of, so could be close between them once Matthew makes his stop.
And Matthew don't pit, and
Matthew isn't actually pitting.
He isn't doing what I think he's doing. He is not staying out to the end of the race. If he stays out to the end of the race,
maybe.
There's no way those Inters can do it. If he somehow pulls off a miracle in that Williams, yet alone the car, those tyres surely can't survive 26 laps.
Well, I mean, actually looking at it, it is looking very dry now.
It's still not dry enough.
So maybe he's just trying to stretch it just enough.
Brand's in now. But now there's still spray on those inters, too much for the slicks to handle. As Jamie has called it a day then, and has left then, as his teammate is in 10th place.
Yeah, it's really dry though. I think in the next lap or two, Matthew could be in for a set of
Brand's in
slicks.
softs.
Brand's in for a set of softs.
So, is it actually now dries, and as the guys on the inters made a mistake? Now this is great news for Eric. Eric's in 4th right now. Slowly, it looks like a tiny little bit gained a little bit on Rich there. Jack's not that far off in 5th, but he has to make another pit stop. So, if it does come dry, as it doesn't look like at the moment, it's still got a bit of spray on the track, but it is slowly drying out. So we'll keep an eye.
There's not much spray on the tyres anymore.
Well, Brand comes out. Brand's losing the exit straight away.
Oh.
I don't think it's slicks yet. I think it's going to be another couple of laps.
That was a good save though from Brand, you have to say, especially on tyres that really don't agree with the track conditions. But I mean, you can see the track now. I mean, like, it is very, very dry.
Matthew's got a 5-second time penalty for speeding. Matthew's bottled it as he bottled the chance to defend against lead. All Jack now has to do, if he tries to catch up with him, is gain only 2 seconds. Matthew's got a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pits.
Does Matthew's car look a bit slow to you in the pit lane?
No, he's going in a regular speed. It's just the speed element that's being a bit silly.
Okay.
Matthew's
on-go
in.
instead of intermediate, so Matthew can't stretch his tyres long enough either.
So, will Jack be able to close on Matthew? Will he be able to take the lead? It looks like he's going to take the lead on Matthew. Oh, Matthew's done a bottle, and Jack takes 2nd place. Net leader right now is Rich. Stays out, possibly to the end of this race, it looks like, but I doubt it, as Ollie is in 4th. Matthew Collins goes in the set of softs as well, but I don't think it's softs yet at all.
Yeah, that's just a big mistake. I mean, Matthew was controlling the race out in front. He tried to take his tyres way too long, and that lost him the time to Jack, and now Jack's ahead of him, and he's also, of course, got that 5-second time penalty. So if he wants to win this race, he needs to get past Jack and pull the 2-second gap, which I don't think, after Jack getting the lead, I don't think he's going to be giving it up so easily.
Yeah, that is true, of course, and as we just saw there, Jay making a quick overtake, an easy overtake.
Oh, and Matthew almost lost it there. It looks like it's between softs and inters right now, I think, because Matthew's really...
Rich made a mistake.
Doesn't seem easy right now.
Jack Laverty's going to take the lead. He's on the inside. The Renault has got nothing against that McLaren, and Jack Laverty is currently in the lead. What about Matthew Ward? Will he get anywhere close enough to even challenge? DRS has been enabled. Will Jack pit for a couple of laps? Rich goes completely off the track. Jack's in. Matthew is in. That will serve his 5-second stop and go. Will anybody else peel into
of course
pits?
Jack hasn't got an extra...
McLaren's
You know, this could be a masterclass from Matthew Collins now. He's already out on a fresh set of softs. Everyone else is pitting. If you look at where he is right now...
Jay couldn't pit. Jay couldn't pit because of Matthew. Jay couldn't pit. Matthew has to serve his 5-second. They haven't even worked on his car yet, and look how much time he's losing. Now they start working on the car.
Matthew Collins might take the lead of this race, Jared. He does take the lead of this race out of nowhere.
Jay's still in the lead right now.
Net lead at least.
But yeah, it's definitely soft tyres, so it has gone near the wire then. Jay tried to gamble to try and win this race, but this is good news for Jay at the moment. He's got to only last 3 laps on those inter conditions, on those inter tyres, I apologise. As he's really struggling there, revving in 4th gear. Matthew Collins takes the lead of the race. Jay is still there, possibly going to challenge him. No, he backs off. And Fran is actually in 3rd. Jack Laverty in 4th.
Yeah, if you look at where Matthew Alder is right now, this is just... I mean, the last few laps, he's just made so many mistakes, and look at where he is now. He was controlling the race up until that pit stop, which is just true. Now he sees himself down in 7th.
Jack's got a 3-second time penalty, remember, right? Matthew's got no penalty. And look at this! Jack Laverty with a grip on those soft tyres shows Fran who is boss, and round the outside to the fast right-hander. Great move there from Jack Laverty, and he's really picking up the pace. He knows he could win the first race, well, his first race in IRL, as he unfortunately missed the win in Bahrain, starting on pole. Could he beat Matthew this time? On the tables basically have turned. Matthew qualified on pole here and could lose the win. Jack Laverty qualified on pole in Bahrain and lost the win. So right now,
yeah, it's completely dry now. Jay asks to come
Jay's
in and he does, and Francis is also gonna have to come in. He doesn't.
Fran's saying
will
out,
Eric Penton come in? No, he doesn't either. So Eric and Francis thinking that they can go to the end. There is a small bit of spray, but it's very little. You can see the grip difference as Ash just gets straight past them.
Matthew takes
no
the
issues
lead.
at all.
Oh, hang on. That's Ollie. Ollie's binned it through the final corner. He has to, I don't know why he's not going, but for some reason now his car's gone into like cloaked mode or something. But he's lost it through the final corner, and he's bottle. And this is not good news for Jack in case it costs the safety car. But right now, Jack is 2.1 seconds up on his PB. His PB currently right now is a 140.2. So he's already in possibly a 138 threshold. Possibly could set a 134, 133 at the moment. But right now, the gap between him and Matthew Collins is 3.9. Now, I don't know if Matthew Collins has got a penalty there. So, right now, Jack is in second. Matthew Order now moves up to fourth. And the gap from Matthew to the leader is 7.8 seconds. Sorry, no, 11.5 seconds. That was Rich. So, Matthew's got a big task ahead of him if he wants to try and win this race within 2 laps.
Yeah, and imagine, I mean, I know last season for sure there was some people who said that Matthew Collins wasn't quick enough for F1. I'm not sure if you remember that as well, but yeah. I mean, he's looking like he could potentially win this race. I'm not sure if penalties have anything to say about it, but he's in a pretty good position, and I mean, it's a masterclass strategy that he's pulled off. I mean, when he went on the softs, he went on them obviously at the right time, and it's put himself in a perfect position.
Well, that is true, of course, and I've got to give it him. He is a bit aggressive, I will admit that, with the way he takes moves and that, but it looks like it works, and it is fair racing. You can be aggressive as you want, as long as you don't damage the cars. As Yellow's further behind, that is Ollie yet again. And that's big chunk of damage on that front wing, and he's now into the pit. So that double stack from McLaren has really hurt his chances today, and he has called it a day. I don't know why. Could possibly got up some points if a few cars were tired, but he's called it a day today. And now that's moved Sondra into 11th, Matt 12th, and Casper in 13th. And with only a 16 car grid today, Kevin, the race is being absolutely superb right now.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, it's got everything really. I mean, Jay at the start was cutting through the field and obviously had his mistake, and that dropped him down a bit. I mean, if Jay didn't make that mistake, he could be leading this race right now potentially.
Yeah, that is true, of course.
If Matthew didn't make that mistake, he could be leading the race. It's so just like little things from big names that have just mixed up the race, and I mean, we still don't really know who's going to win this race right now.
Jack Laverty sets new fastest lap, 130.9. What about Rich? Will he set the fastest lap? Yes, no, Matthew Order does, 130.3. So Matthew is really closing up, and he wants to try and catch up with Jack. Jack's on a 30.9, Matthew did a 30.3. So Matthew's a lot more faster, as we can hear. Kevin's family in the background agreeing with me that Jack Laverty could possibly win this race at the moment. Gap now to Matthew Collins and Jack is 2.5 seconds. Gap to Ash and Jack is 4.3 seconds. Gap to Matthew to Rich is 2.2 seconds. So right now as Jay and Fran are battling further behind in 7th and 8th. This is the final lap of this race. I don't think Matthew's going to even catch Jack Laverty on penalties. But who's going to win out of these two? Will it be Matthew Collins by penalties, or will it be Jack Laverty by penalties? As we're coming now for the final time through Mackett and Beckett. Final time Matthew Collins from F2, but in a lower division, topping the timesheets of F2, now topping the timesheets of F1. Could he take the fastest lap? Could he take the win of this race? Or will it be Jack? Will it be Rich? Or will it be Matthew? Only a few more corners to find out. As now we're going through the final 3 corners now. As he can already taste the champagne.
Diego's going for a move on Brandon Glover on the last lap.
Here comes Matthew.
Look. Brandon
takes the win.
Off.
Jack Lavity takes second, doesn't take the win then. Matthew Collins wins. Rich takes third. What about Matthew? Will Matthew jump him? No, Matthew stays fourth. Brandon will take fifth then, just from Diego. But Diego jumps by penalties. Jay is in seventh. Gets 3-second time penalty added to his troubles. He won't be happy with the result, but he'll be better than what it was at the start in 12th. He takes 7th. Fran on the Inters somehow survived and didn't lose it. And will be finishing in 8th place. But I've got to say though, Kevin, the incident between Jay and Ash will definitely be investigated. As Felix cheekily gets past Eric. Eric goes off the track. Fran drops to 10th. Chandra goes to 11th. And right now, Matt takes 12th as Eric's, I don't know, was just unsettled there from Felix on the final corners. Casper rounds up the grid in 13th then. And wow, what a spectacular race from complete inter conditions to lap 23 to complete dry conditions. So it's been very interesting on the strategy calls. And Matthew Collins takes the top spot today and takes the win in a Ferrari. First time we've seen the Ferrari this season, I believe, take the top step of the podium, with Jack Lavity in 2nd place and Rich in 3rd. He will definitely be happy with that, with his debut race, I believe, for Rich in the Renault. He'll be really happy with 3rd place today. And Matthew Ward will be very disappointed with that bottle he made in and finishing in P4. Well then, Kevin, could you just quickly suggest the top 3 while I go down the grid for me, if you can? As right now then, we'll go down the grid then. Matthew Collins and...
already on it.
Oh, good man. Matthew Collins is provisionally on pole. Jack takes 2nd place then. Rich takes 3rd. He will be happy with that, especially with the crash with Jay. Matthew will be very disappointed in 4th when starting on pole position, so he did a bottle today. Yet again, is the pressure getting to the championship points leader. Diego in 5th. Brandon 6th. Jay disappointed in 7th, but starting in 14th. Felix in 8th. Eric 9th. Fran 10th. Sandra Sohag in P11. We'll be happy with that, even though he said he could have bottled today. Matt in 12th. Casper round up the grid in 30th. People finishing the race, but Ollie Flavel, I don't know if he finished in the 90% rule, but finished 14th. Jamie and Lewis Curtis definitely didn't finish in that rule, and they both DNF'd. And this has been IRL season 7 round 8 at Britain, and these is the results. For once, Matthew actually isn't in the top 3, which is actually surprising, and that's the first time this season that's actually happened. Wow, what interesting race. Alright, thank you very much, as we will send the invites now to the top 3. And it's a different top 3 than I'm used to. As Jack Lavity is one he's an invite. We'll let them know, of course. Oh, Matthew Collins is already in for an interview then, straight away. Well then, Matthew Collins, just got to make sure that your voice is on share so people on the stream can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Hang on. Have you gone on settings and put your party audio to... Ah, you have, yeah. Then they should be able to hear you. If they don't, they will let me know on the stream. But congratulations, I believe your first victory in IRL, and I do remember you were last season in IRL F2, and you were very quick for that tier, and you've gone instantly to F1 with the season, and you've took a victory when people actually were saying that in theory you should have stayed in F2, and you've already told your criticism guys that they're completely wrong, and you got the victory today. How does it feel?
I'm honestly lost for words. I really didn't think that was going to happen. Given where I qualified, and you know, the track took a lot longer to dry out than I expected. I thought maybe the last 10 or so laps were going to be dry, but I just got really lucky with the strategy because I was judging off blizzards, and I was going to pit the same lap that he did, and see what tyres he went on to. But by that time, I was already in the box, so I had to put softs on. But luckily, the track just dried in time, and I was able to get enough temperature to get out into the lead. And it was just a case. I knew Midnight had a penalty behind, so it was just keeping it on track and not getting any penalties to get the win.
Yeah, I've got to say, you managed to keep that on track actually superbly, especially when it looked like it wasn't soft tyres at all. It looked like it was still inter conditions when Jay was out on the inters. But then instantly, within a couple of corners, you had the advantage on those softs, and Jay actually possibly did want to pit, but you actually, in theory, stopped him from doing that because you were trying to pass him on the inside, then going on the outside into the chicane, the final few corners, which was a very interesting battle. But I've got to say, from F2, time in the top steps of the podium and that, to F1, getting a victory is a great achievement, and I've got to say, very well done. You know, you've surprised me actually. I wasn't actually expecting you to get a win yet, because you know there was a few quick guys today, but honestly you've deserved the drive of the day with the strategy call you did. So I'm just going to say congratulations on your win, and I ain't got any other questions to ask unless you've got a question to ask him, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, as Jared basically said, great race. I mean, I have to say your strategy was a bit bold as well, I would say, because I mean obviously it was still spraying your tires when you came in for the softs, but it ended up working when everyone else around you was going for inters, and then all of a sudden it did dry up, and then your strategy ended up being the better one. So did you expect to come out ahead of them? Like, did you think if I go on softs now, maybe by the time it is actually time for dries, that I might get ahead of people who thought maybe another set of inters?
To be honest, no. When I came out the pits, you know, the grip wasn't there, and Jay caught up to me. Jay got past me, but it was like a click of the finger. Just the grip came straight away, and the minute I got back past him, I knew from then that I was on the right tyres. But it was just a big gamble because everyone else who came into the pits never went for softs until a lap later, so I really wasn't sure. But once I was ahead of everyone, I knew I made the right call.
Yeah, well, obviously it ended up being the race winning call, so congratulations on that. I'm not sure what the next race is, Jordan, unless you do.
Germany.
Okay, yeah. Next race is Germany, so how do you feel around there? Obviously, I think last season you were pretty close to getting a podium there. You were kind of fighting for the win, or just thereabouts. So do you think you can maybe be there again, or?
Hopefully. My qualifying pace around Germany is never too good, but I tend to have a lot more pace during the race. So it would just be a case of qualifying as high up as possible and using that pace that I've got to try and get as far up the order as I can.
Congratulations on your... Hopefully it goes well for you next week.
Oh, thank you.
Well, congratulations there, and thank you for the little interview there, Matthew. I don't think anybody else is actually joining. I think they've actually gone off, so we will end it here then. We did have an interview there with the race winner. It's good to hear, Matthew, and congratulations yet again. But we are now going to do the closing down procedure. Oh, then, Kevin, what was your highlight of today's race?
I would say highlights. Basically, Jay going into the back of Ash when he had seemingly so much pace, seemed to be the fastest guy on track, and also Matthew into the pit lane getting that 5-second pen, which obviously turned out to be partially the reason that he wasn't quite up there. Overall, I'd say the highlight was the unpredictability of the rain. knowing what tire was the right tire, knowing like if I go on softs now, will it dry up or not? So yeah, I'd say that's the main highlight of today.
Well, my highlights, Jack and I believe it was Fran going on the outside through the fast right, I can't remember, I think it's Corpse Corner, which was a great move to see. And then also, I do agree with you that Matthew as well, getting that 5-second penalty did spice up the race a little bit. But yeah, again, then Matthew Collins taking the victory in the final few laps with the strategy he made. Well, then, that is our highlights with today's race. It's been a very great race today, and this has been IRL Season 7 F1 Tier Round 8. Join us next week at Germany for Round 9, next week at 6 o'clock UK time. But if you do want to see more F2 and F3 content, join us tomorrow, where I'm possibly be racing on wheel, and F2 Grid will be looking for the fights to take another victory in Britain with F3 as well, who will be brought by Felix and Sondra as commentators, and Lance will be doing F2. But if you guys want to see more content of us, join us next week on Saturday at 6 o'clock. I've been your commentator, Iron Leon, Jared Fosbury. Been joined by Kevin, co-commentator. And we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.